Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. I'm tempted to do it in a voice like Micah Richards impersonating me. Don't think I wasn't listening, Micah. Don't think I wasn't listening. If only there was something to talk about over the weekend's football. Incredible stuff in the FA Cup and the Premier League. We've got lots to get through, but there's only one place to start, and that's Old Trafford.
Wow! Unbelievable. And we use the word unbelievable so many times, but today it truly was unbelievable. And I thought Man United, when they went behind, was they going to crumble? But I have to say, Old Trafford was absolutely rocking. Even from the TV screen, you could hear the atmosphere. It was back to its best. I've not heard it like that for a long time. And then the game, it was like a boxing match, wasn't it? You thought Liverpool was going to go on and just finish him off. Couldn't quite do it. Man United came back into it. But did they have the minerals to go on and win it? And the answer was an astounding yes. You've got to give credit to Man United. We talk so much about them, about potentially not having a character or desire or having the tactical nous to see games out. But you got to give them credit. They stuck to it till the end, and they were superb. They really were.
It was just a brilliant game. I mean, the atmosphere, you could just feel it through the television. It had a bit of everything, didn't it? To and fro, and your game, their game. It was just, it was unbelievable. Even so, it was that good. I've actually broke my headphones here. So if you think I look like a bit of a prat because one of them's broken here. For once, Gary, I've got like big lugs like you look.
Yeah. See? Actually suits you.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was just an amazing game.
I was saying today on when I was doing the Chelsea-Leicester game that I think we should get rid of extra time because they're always boring. So football always proves you wrong, doesn't it? The extra time was incredible. In fact, I got back from Stamford Bridge for the second half. I didn't see the first half, but I mean, it was truly extraordinary. I mean, it was both teams were going gung-ho for victory. No one seemed to be thinking about penalty shootouts. Manchester United's back four at the end. It was mad. They had Anthony at the back, Bruno playing central defence, and still they managed to counter and win the game. And I think there's still a bit of life left in the FA Cup.
Oh, absolutely. What a weekend it's been. I mean, I know we'll get onto it in a minute, but my team were beaten. But the games that have happened, I mean, whether it was Coventry City, whether it was Chelsea, whether it was City, it wasn't I mean, that was probably the worst game of the weekend, City, one-way traffic the whole way. But the others, oh my goodness, the games were just incredible. Great viewing, great for people in the stadiums, great for people sat back at home watching on TV, and yeah, it had this weekend with the FA Cups had absolutely everything. Amazing.
How good was Kobe Mainoo?
He's such a talented young man, isn't he?
Oh my word! He just gets better and better and better. We analysed him when he first played for Man United, and we talked about how calm he was on the ball. But it's not just that. He runs forward. He's got great feet. His passing range looks good. I think he's still got work to do on the tactical side of things in terms of protecting his back four a little bit more. But what a performance that was him. He was amazing today, he really was.
Yeah, he didn't make the England squad, obviously. But, I mean, he's sending another message there, isn't he, to Gareth Southgate. I mean, there's still time. I mean, it is a position.
That's all he can do. That's all he can do is keep on performing like that. And he's had a brilliant start. I agree with Micah. His performance today was amazing. And that's probably a little bit of disappointment that he wasn't in there, but keep performing like that, it's inevitable. It's only a matter of time.
Well, at his age as well, obviously his time will come. He's got bags of time ahead of him, and even if he was in the squad for the Euros, if he makes it, he'd probably be more for perhaps experience around the players than anything else. But he's got to be a star of the future. As you know, obviously you can never say with young players, things can go wrong. Things can go wrong off the field. You can get injuries. But given a fair run, and I suspect he's got a really good attitude, he seems to have, then the sky's the limit, isn't it?
It really is. I think he's doing all the right things. His interviews, he says all the right things. Seems like a real humble, measured person. So long may it continue. I also think it's worth giving a shout to Anthony as well, because his time at Man United has not been great, but to come on and make a difference, not only just obviously getting the goal, but his work rate and his body language, his attitude. I thought it was brilliant today. And it just shows you that it is in him. I think that's why we get a little bit frustrated with Man United at times, because they've got the players, haven't they? It's just about that consistency. And if they could make Old Trafford back into a fortress again, then they've got a chance of, getting a little run together now between now and the end of the season.
And for Ten Hag, by the way, you've got to give him a mention, because he every single week he probably reads, even if he wins the FA Cup, it may not be enough. They've got to finish in the top 4, which is going to be extremely difficult. You read that they're already speaking to different managers, so he's got to put up with all of that. So for him to go in against Liverpool and win in that fashion, and his team are out there scrapping and fighting for him, that's a huge result for him, and well done him.
Yeah. Also, I thought I was pleased for Marcus Rashford, because obviously he's been through a tough time, but he's showing signs of a real return to form. I know he missed a good chance, didn't he, in the last minute, when his first touch was actually superb, but he just pushed it a little bit wide of the post, but. To get that all-important goal, I think that would do him the world of good. And there are, signs of the Rashford that we all know and really admire.
Well, let's hope so, because we saw it last season, didn't we? I mean, there's unbelievable talent there. We know that. And yeah, I think the one he missed, you could see the agony on his face, couldn't you, when the camera sort of panned in on him. But as a forward, you know that you miss one, you're always going to get the opportunity to rectify that, and he did that. It was a great finish when it came to him.
Well, that's the key. We've said so many times, haven't we, Alan?
Yep.
You've just got to keep going in there. If you miss, don't be scared to miss the next time. It's a game of probability, isn't it? The more chances you get, the more goals you'll score.
Not comparing the two, but look at Ellis Sims yesterday.
Yeah, the sitter he missed.
The sitter. I mean, that was probably the chance of the season. Don't know how he missed it, but to be fair to him, he kept on going and got 2 goals.
I've asked you guys about, what it's like when you miss and how you keep going, but I've not asked you, does the crowd have a factor in how you feel? Does that make a difference whether you're home or away if you're missing chances? Or does it not really matter?
Micah, I would probably say it's no different to a defender making an error that leads to a goal. I mean, you can hear them moaning and groaning in the crowd, but you mustn't then be afraid to go on and then get on the ball and be brave and everything else. Because, I mean, and what's different, I suppose, is that you're always going to miss more than you score. And you've got to be brave and keep getting in there, because if you do, eventually it'll turn.
I remember when I joined Everton, I played in the last pre-season friendly before the start of the season, and I missed about 4 really good chances. Didn't score. It was only a pre-season friendly anyway. And I remember Peter Reid coming up to me at the end of the game, and he went, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I went, "I'm absolutely okay, because with this team, you create a lot of chances, and I will score a lot of goals." And funny, I saw him recently for a drink. He's a great guy, Peter. And he reminded me of that. He said, "I remember that time. I remember that time." But it is so true that the mental strength side of a striker's game is so hugely important. You've got to keep getting in there and keep believing in yourself. And I'm sure that's not just true for strikers, but players in all positions.
Agreed. Definitely. 100%.
Do you think that might transform things for Manchester United? I don't know how many times over the last few years we've said that. So in the draw for the semi-finals, you've got Manchester United playing against Coventry and Manchester City against Chelsea. So the odds are probably in favour of another All-Manchester final, the first one of which was obviously just about a year ago. It could be another repeat.
Wouldn't surprise me. You can imagine we're sat there thinking, come on, let's we all want Coventry, which is understandable.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, Man United got them. And it's not going to be easy for them, by the way. I was really impressed with Coventry. Mark Robbins is doing an unbelievable job there. Yeah. I mean, the way they fought back and did everything yesterday against Wolves was really, really impressive. Yeah. And it was no fluke. They deserved it. They were brilliant, Coventry. But it's understandable that everyone wanted them in the semi-final.
Yeah, of course they did. Liverpool, a big blow. Obviously, that's the chances of the quadruple, which was always going to be a massive ask. But they looked really choked at the end, as you would be, particularly against their one of their big rivals, Manchester United.
I was just thinking that in the way as well, wasn't it, Micah? In the way it would hurt. I mean, it hurt anyway, but to lose it in the way they did would be even more.
Yeah, but it swings and roundabouts. Look at the League Cup final when Chelsea should have probably won that game, but their resilience got them through. Van Dijk header late on. So you could say the same about Chelsea. Yeah. I just think with Liverpool, they've done so well to be in all these competitions, especially with the young players within the squad. And we kept saying they can't possibly keep going with the young players, key players out, and they did well to get this far. But yeah, I just thought in the end, it looked like Man United had a little bit more, I won't even say legs, but the game fell for them more. The tackles were going in. It just looked like it was going to be their day. So fair play to them. But yeah, it was Man United's day, and they can, focus on the league now and the Europa League. And yeah, take it from there.
Yeah, still loads to play for Liverpool, and obviously for Manchester United, there's still that chance of Champions League football. They've got a bit to do, but they would have been helped by the results this weekend with Spurs losing and Villa drawing. Did both of you watch My Mob? It's not been a great weekend for you and me, Alan, really.
No. Yeah, I watched it as well. I mean, bloody hell, you were terrible in the first half. You were awful, weren't you? I mean,
or Leicester?
No, not you. No, you were fine. You were good as usual. It was your team that was poor. Yeah. I was texting you during the thinking,
I know you.
My goodness me, how bad are Leicester? And then to their credit, they came back in the second half. Unlucky, I suppose, with the sending off, but it was a sending off. He had to make that decision. Then you're up against it, weren't you?
Yeah.
So
I was thinking at the time, and I think it was mentioned in commentary, that in that situation, what would you have preferred? Would you have preferred it to be a penalty and maybe a yellow card, or a red card and be a free kick outside the box, given there wasn't that long to go?
Probably give it a penalty and let Raheem Sterling take it. What on earth is going on there, by the way, in the first half?
That was really odd, wasn't it?
Seriously, I mean, I was getting angry and I didn't really care. And I'm thinking, why on earth is he taking the ball off Palmer?
He scored 5 out of 5 this season, Cole Palmer.
He's the best player for Chelsea. He's been brilliant all season. He looks confident whenever he's taken them. Why would you even contemplate taking it off him?
You could see him talking to him as they're walking towards it. Sterling's obviously gone, I want this. And I suppose as a young player, you're going to bow to that seniority, aren't you, of a player like Sterling, but rather than fight about it. But I must admit, I thought, this is quite good for Leicester, because I think there's a chance he might miss it, because I think he's missed 5 of the last 7. So
even more so, yeah. Why on earth would you put yourself forward when you've got a record like that?
It's confidence, though, isn't it?
What do you mean it's confidence?
your Cole Palmer's flying, and sometimes, not you, obviously, evidently, but sometimes a striker or someone in form would give it to a player who may be suffering for a little bit of confidence just to get his confidence back, surely.
I would actually disagree with that. Because
Bullshit.
I think
Absolutely,
you want the person with confidence to take it, not the person who's lacking confidence.
No,
surely.
but no disrespect. It was Leicester at home. If it was,
That is disrespectful.
If it was Man United or Man City, Liverpool, come on.
It's the
Cole Palmer
quarter final of the FA Cup, man. Forget about who you're playing or who you want to be nice to and all that shit. Give the penalty to the penalty taker. Forget about all the being nice shit. I want to get my confidence up and all that. He's not on the pens. Cole Palmer's on the pens, and he's been successful at them. 5 out of 5. Get off. I'm taking it. Simple.
Totally agree with you, but you kind of have to admire Raheem Sterling's cojones, shall we say, because he's not scared of putting himself forward, and obviously after the red card, the free kick was on the edge of the box.
Oh.
I think it might have been quite possibly the worst free kick I've ever seen. I mean, it nearly went actually over the stand,
And after he missed the chance after the penalty as well, didn't he?
yeah. But he did obviously have an assist in the game for the second goal. But it was peculiar. I was a bit disappointed in Leicester. I just thought they played so open, and defensively they looked all at sea. And I thought Vestergaard playing in a 4. He's good in the air. He's very good on the ball, but he's let's say he's not the quickest, and he was exposed quite frequently.
Yeah, he got done for the goal with ease, didn't he? I mean, the way Jackson went past him was a bit embarrassing, but well played Jackson, because he knew who he was up against, and he went. Yeah, it was too easy, wasn't it? A terrible defender.
Important win, wasn't it, for Maurizio Pochettino? I think I'm looking at them though, and I still think that they're a long way off being anywhere near the top 4, aren't they? The quality there. I'm not. They've got such a huge squad. Obviously, they're very young, so they will improve. And I think he's probably the right man to help improve them over time if he's given that amount of time. But you could feel there was like a kind of nervousness and a slightly disgruntled fraction of the crowd at Stamford Bridge with perhaps some of the decisions, even though obviously substitution turned out to be a good one.
I was just about to say it was probably the loudest I've heard it. I mean, I haven't been to all the games, but I've watched a lot of the games, and it was probably the loudest I've heard it in terms of the booing and the disagreement with his decisions, getting on Raheem's back. I heard that also. But you've got to give it to Maurizio. He made the decisions, he made the substitutions, and his subs worked. They went on to win the game through his changes.
Yeah, although I will say, when Sterling was eventually substituted, and when he first did it and he started to walk towards the tunnel, there were quite a few boos, but then it was completely drowned out by applause. And I think that's important. You need the home fans on side. Obviously, there was a segment of the crowd, but in the end, it was definitely engulfed by applause for Raheem Sterling. And I will say also, I want to mention this because at the end of the game, I walked out and met a couple of my sons for a quick lunch just down the Fulham Road at a little Italian restaurant. Andres Pereira was in there, actually, said hello, from Fulham player. And I actually walked out with, there were hundreds and hundreds of Chelsea fans and all the way through. And not one of them took the piss out of us getting beat by them, or was nasty in any way, and they were really supportive and saying, great game, sorry you seem lost. And honestly, well done, because they don't always get the best press, probably Chelsea fans, but thank you very much for that. That was very considerate and kind at a time when you were suffering. And one fan came up with this young lad and he went, I love the podcast. He said, we listen all the time. So a shout out to Buzz.
Yeah, cheers, Buzz. It was a bit like me coming out of the Etihad yesterday, guys. When everyone was really respectful, and apart from ex-players, a couple of pundits. We walking back to the cars in the car park, and some ex-pundit was taking the piss, waving me off in the car park, weren't they, Micah?
Well, BBC, again, another one from BBC's number one pundit. I've just got a feeling that Newcastle are going to win the FA Cup this year. What happened to that, mate?
I was just trying to stick with my team, man. As soon as we drew you lot, I knew that we were in trouble. And we were terrible.
It's always the confidence that kills, isn't it? It's the hope that kills you. The hope, aspiration. You just think, maybe something's got to happen at some point. But it didn't happen for either your team or mine. And actually, Leicester have lost top spot now as well in the league because Leeds beat Millwall, I think.
Yeah, nervous?
Edgy. I said before the game I'd take an FA Cup win and not promotion. A trophy over getting back in the Premier League, because then next season we'd win a load more games. Now I'm terrified we'll get neither.
Who's top of the league?
Now he's a Leeds fan now.
Marching on together.
God, is there a team you don't support, Mike?
I go with the wind, Gary. You know that.
I know you do. You really do. I mean, we were all, the three of us were at the Manchester City-Newcastle game, obviously. I mean, they weren't at their scintillating best, City, but boy, oh boy, they must be so incredibly difficult to play against. You can't get the ball off them, and when you do, they win it back within seconds. They're relentless.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Because when you asked us, in the game, and you're thinking about, obviously I watch City a lot, what could you do to stop Man? You can have a go. Of course you can have a go. You can press high, and Man City like to keep a high line, as we know. But if you bring your team 30, 40 yards up the field, then they've got Haaland to run in behind. So it's like they can break you down in any way. If you want to sit deep in a low block, no problem. They've got runners like Foden and Bernardo Silva. Doku had a good game, I thought, the other day. And if you give them space, they've got Haaland. It's so demoralising at times for teams going there thinking that they've got half a chance, and then one mistake. We're talking about, and Alan will talk about probably one of the goals because he explained it really well on BBC on Saturday when he was basically talking about it was just like an inch. He did all the right things, but then if they smell blood, they just punish you. And I think that is the difference with Manchester City at this moment in time, even when they're not playing at the very best.
And the other thing, Alan, you need a little bit of luck, don't you, against those sort of sides? And you certainly didn't have it. Two horrible deflections yesterday.
Yeah, 2 deflections. But, I mean, Man City were miles a better team. They've got, I mean, in every position they were better. They are better. I think even without injuries, Newcastle may have struggled. They've given them a game this season. That was the 4th time they've played them. They've given them a game, particularly the 2 home games when they knocked them out of the Carabao, and then the league game. I think City scored in the last minute or so to win the game at St James's, and that makes a difference. It would have been a completely different, I think, atmosphere, performance if it had been at St James's. But, I mean, that's 38 unbeaten, I think, now at home for Man City. So they're formidable at home. They're a brilliant team, great manager, great to watch. And yeah, they deserve the respect, as much as it was hard to take because of the 2 deflected goals. But they deserved it. They were miles better than Newcastle.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it, that they repeat last season's treble? I mean, that's never been done. Not just here, but anywhere, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because if you look at the side of the draw in the Champions League, they've got obviously Real Madrid in the quarterfinals, then could meet Bayern or Arsenal. And then people need to look out for Atletico Madrid as well. They beat a really good Inter Milan side who on the night I thought deserves to probably win it, and they will just bore the life out the game. They literally... Everyone knows the jobs, so drilled tactically, and just maybe on a one-off, if they were to get to the final, Man City, maybe Atletico is the one team I feel if there was to go past Real Madrid, of course, that could hurt them tactically.
The only thing I would say is that Atletico have really struggled away from home this season, and they did against Inter as well. It's funny, isn't it? You know, obviously a couple of years ago they changed the away goals rule. Yeah. That would have been the one tie that would have been the other way round. Inter would have gone through, obviously, on away goals in that particular one, so it made a difference. But Alan, in terms of Newcastle, that's another season now without a trophy. And I saw this is a bit unkind of me here, really, but I saw a tweet by somebody this morning, UTD Heisenberg, and he went, "It's now officially 69 years without a major trophy for Newcastle. Here's a thread of 14 clubs who have won a trophy more recently than the Geordies." Apologies here, Alan. Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Southampton, Wolves, Oxford United, Ipswich Town, QPR, Wimbledon, Luton Town, Coventry City, Sheffield Wednesday, Birmingham City, Wigan Athletic, Swansea City, and I'm going to add Leicester City.
What was his name? Who sent that tweet?
Somebody Heisenberg. I don't suppose
Fuck
that's
off,
his real
Heisenberg. I don't mean it. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. Yeah, I hope I'm still around when we win it. It'll happen one day. I've no doubt about it. It'll happen one day.
No, you mentioned Coventry earlier, and that was a little bit like the Man United Liverpool game. I mean, the turnarounds in that game were really extraordinary, because obviously Coventry got ahead, and then with just a few minutes to go, Wolves got one back, and then they got 2-1 up, and you just thought, well, that's it. And then to score, what it was, 94th minute and 100th minute, wasn't it, to turn it around away from home at a Premier League club like that. Our producer John, he's still in hiding, I think, after that, of those goings on. I mean, it must have been devastating for a Wolves fan, but from a Coventry perspective, wow.
Wasn't it brilliant? I mean, great. It was just a brilliant game as well, and there was nothing fluky about it. They weren't lucky. They deserved it. I mean, I was thinking, you know, we talked about earlier about when Ellis Sims missed that chance. I'm thinking, oh no, you can't miss chances like that against Premier League teams. But he gets his 2 goals, and then they're up against it, and you think, oh, it's not going to go for them. And then Hadji Wright, wasn't it, got the winner. What a finish, man! It was brilliant. The way he just bent it into the corner. And then you just look at the Coventry fans going mad, and yeah, wow, what a job he's doing, Mark Robbins, isn't he?
He's been there a few years now. He's taken them up, and they're consistently doing well in the Championship.
They got some really good players as well. I got Casey Palmer, who can play, was like a midfielder. Hadji Wright, obviously, who scored one of the goals. Callum O'Hare, who come off the bench
came on,
as well.
I like him, yeah.
Really, I was with him at Aston Villa. And there was Premier League interest for him. I think it was last summer as well. Decided to stay, and yeah, they've got some really. Ellis Sims as well. Do you remember him from Everton as well? Didn't really hit the ground running when he was at Everton, but he's gone there in a system, and they've got some really talented young players.
Manchester United in semi-final at Wembley for them. That's one to look forward to, isn't it?
Who's do the BBC get first pick? We do, don't we?
We get first pick of the semi-finals. I would
imagine it's going to be City Chelsea then, isn't it?
I would think so.
If it can be arranged, I mean, whether the police or whoever it is for times on TV, you never know that. So I would guess though that would be their favoured choice, wouldn't it?
You reckon? Not Man United, Coventry, underdog, and the size of Man United.
Yeah, it's probably more romantic semi-final, isn't it, than the other one. So I don't know. It's kind of 50-50 in a way. Obviously, 2 Premier League teams. It could be closer. The danger, I think, with those is if Man United go a couple up early, then it's kind of
City
all
could
over.
do the same.
Well, that's very true. That is so true. So I don't know. I haven't had any conversations yet. Not that I pick it. Not yet. No, I don't, Mike. Don't look at me like that. Let's turn our attention to Premier League matches. Big game down the bottom yesterday. Luton equalising very late against Nottingham Forest, who just can't seem to get a victory ultimately. And I think there's heavily rumoured that their sentencing and whether they're going to get deducted points will be out tomorrow. We're talking on Sunday, so perhaps by the time you listen to this, you might already know what's happened to Nottingham Forest. There'll be some tense Forest fans around over the next few hours or so.
Well, that was a big goal for Luton, wasn't it? I mean, if Forest had won that another 3 points, but huge goal for them. And that's what we're hearing about Forest this week. It's going to be announced. I'm sure whatever happens, they'll probably appeal. But yeah, credit to Luton for keep on going and getting that vital goal, and that could be a huge point for them.
Yeah, particularly after what happened in midweek to them, being 3-0 up.
Yeah.
At Bournemouth and then actually losing that game. I think that showed a bit of character to do that and keep going and get back and get a point, Micah.
Yeah, exactly that. I think there's been loads of, we've given so much praise, haven't we, Luton this season, but the sort of, I don't want to say switch off, but all the hard work gets undone towards the end of the game. So to get a goal in the 89th minute to get the draw for them, it is absolutely massive. It's exciting as well. The top's exciting and the bottom's exciting. So roll on. It's nice this time of the year, especially for us broadcasters, that there's something riding on the league at this point of it. So it's really good for the for the spectacle for us, for everyone.
And what about this for a statistic of consecutive scoring streaks? I'll go from back to front. It's got the top 6 here. Manchester United have gone 10 games scoring in each one. Newcastle 10 as well, Alan. Liverpool 11, Chelsea 11, Manchester City 13, and Luton 17.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like we keep saying about Luton and Rob Edwards, I mean, they concede a ridiculous amount of goals. That's evident for everyone to see. But they do score. They do make it difficult for you at times. They're organised. They know, in terms of putting balls into the box, they know a system that works for them. I mean, it's at the other end. That's their problem, isn't it? It's keeping them out. They just can't. They can't stop shipping goals.
Can they do it? Can they do it? Can they stay up, Al?
I think only what happens with Nottingham Forest and with Everton.
Good point. Talking of consecutive runs, Tottenham's was ended yesterday, and they were actually ahead of Luton at the time. I mean, credit to Fulham. I mean, they are churning out some incredible results this season, but obviously it was a really poor day for Spurs.
Not just a poor day for Spurs, poor day for my fantasy football. Absolutely shocking. I use my wild card. So for those who don't know, wild card, you can basically change all your players.
And you did that because a lot of teams weren't playing, presumably.
Correct. So I put in loads of Spurs players, loads of Villa players.
Son captain by any chance?
Son captain absolutely let me down. He spoiled my day, that did. Honest, he's just spoiled.
You're not the only one. Harry's shaking his head still. I think he had Reguilon in his side as well, who got a red card.
-3 you got Reguilon.
Oh dear.
Oh,
which brings us to Burnley. I mean, we've talked about Burnley a lot this season. So now they've finally got 3 points and a victory. Let's give them some credit. Does that give them any hope, Alan?
I would like to say yes, but no, I don't think so. I think they're as good as gone. Good for them. Yeah, I'm pleased for them. It's been tough. Vincent left the goalkeeper out, didn't he? Which a lot of people have been saying that for a while now. We left him out. Whether that was anything to do with the result, I don't know. But yeah, it's been a tough season for them, and I don't see them having enough to stay up.
I hope James Trafford bounces back.
Yeah,
I think
do. Yeah.
He's been put on the spot this season. Very inexperienced. Yeah,
I think it's been a really tough season for him, and at times, I think he should have been taken out. I think it's been a mistake by Vincent to leave him in there at times where he's been under huge pressure. He's made mistakes, and when that happens, I think you're sometimes better off being taken out of the team to sit back and have a look and reflect and give the job to someone else, because I mean, goalkeeping is a really tough position anyway, but for someone who's so young and inexperienced, and to come into the Premier League and be asked to do such a huge job is a tough ask. And I think it's been unfair on him this season at times.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Particularly with goalkeepers, they tend to mature a little bit later, don't they, than outfield players? So, they perhaps need a bit of time. And I think certainly in terms of physicality and size and stuff, he's struggled a little bit at times this season. And clubs have targeted Burnley and knocked the ball under the crossbar from corners and made it very difficult for him. I mean, he's clearly very talented and made some great saves. So hopefully it doesn't get him down, and he comes back and works hard and realises his massive potential.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you guys said there, but it's very difficult because Al made a good point about taking him out. I do agree with it, but it's when do you put him back in? That is the question. So if you spend, was it 19 million they spent for him? Something along those lines. Really exciting young goalkeeper. If you take him out, is that going to sort of ruin his confidence a little bit? And I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult because if you buy a keeper for that much, he's going to start. So it's hard to know whether to keep with him or take him out for a couple of games.
Yeah. We skipped past Fulham a little bit. So I presume you didn't have Muniz in your team?
Oh my God. You know what? I had him in so you can tinker with it up until I think an hour before.
You took him out?
I took him out. And oh my gosh. It spoiled my weekend. It really has. Yeah.
Harry here has just shown me his team lineup now, and he had him on the bench, which I think means you don't get the points unless someone else doesn't play, and then he's demoralised. I mean, it affects your mood, you lot, doesn't it? It affects your mood, all you players of fantasy football, so much.
It does. How many points did Harry finish with?
15.
21. Not much 21. Better.
How do you get the time to do all this shit? I mean, you're on every other channel anyway, so how do you get the time to do it?
You know what it helps you with, Al? It helps you with knowing all the players. Because, there's bargains in there. It's all about balancing the squad and who's in form.
That's always the editor at Match of the Day's excuse, isn't it? Rich, who equally gets into it massively. And he said, no, it's brilliant. I know all about the players. It gives me much more for purposes. But it's clearly a lot of fun for a lot of people and seems seemingly quite addictive to many. Let's move slightly further afield. And a worrying moment for Harry Kane. I think he collided with the post, twisted his ankle late in Bayern's victory. He'd already scored a goal, obviously, but he's going to come to the England squad where he'll get treated and they'll look at it. So I think that probably suggests it's not too serious, hopefully.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, I know he collided with the post, but it didn't look that serious, did it? And if you know Harry, then I would guess, I don't know, I guess he'll be fine. But another goal, it's like, wow, what a season. I know they're doing okay in the Champions League, but they're not doing so well in the league. But what a season he's having, man. My goodness me. It's just ridiculous. You keep reading another record broken. But yeah, we hope he's all right. I think he'll be all right, don't you? Didn't look that serious, did it?
I mean, we've been monitoring Bayer Leverkusen, haven't we, a lot this season, Xabi Alonso's side. And I think twice in the Europa League, they came from 2 goals down to maintain their unbeaten record in any competition this season. And then they won again today, being Sunday, beat Freiburg by 3-2. I mean, can you imagine if it surely can't happen, but if they go on to win a treble, that the German Cup, the Europa League and the Bundesliga without losing a game, would that be the greatest season of any team ever?
It'd be up there, I know that much. They just keep finding a way. It's ridiculous. Have you watched any of their obviously you see results and we're always working, but I know, Gary, you watch as much as you possibly can. But I don't know how they keep doing it. They're like behind in games with 10 minutes to go and they just find a way to do it. And it's just ridiculous.
They're not a team of superstars either.
No.
If you look at, the starting line, obviously Granit Xhaka's gone there now. is playing an important part. Florian Wirtz is I think, their star, and scored a terrific goal, which we shared on the chat earlier. But I think he's going to be quite in demand, Mr. Alonso, by the end of the season.
No, he already is in demand. He already is, with the jobs that are going to be available come the end of the season, whether that's Bayern, whether that's Liverpool, or whether that's going to be in one or two others. Then, the big hitters will be after him, no doubt about it, or are after him.
For sure. Let's finish with the moment of the week, and I think it's got to be Ahmad's goal. I think for Manchester United in that kind of the 120th minute, whatever it was. And he's quite a story, Ahmad. He was actually, I don't know whether you know this, but he was actually trafficked into Italy with a number of young African footballers. And actually, when he was 17 or something, it was found out that he had fake papers and stuff, and the kid was fined. I mean, I can't see quite how it's his fault. He was manipulated, obviously, by agents bringing youngsters into the country. And then to end up at Manchester United and to come on and then score a goal like that, it's quite the tale, isn't it?
Talk about the timing as well. Oh, goodness me. I mean, for him to get where he did from the edge of the box to the other end and then finish it off, yeah, I mean, it was amazing. What an end to the game. So, and what an afternoon for him.
Then he got a red card.
I know, yeah.
It's ridiculous, that, though, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
It's a silly rule, isn't it?
I know rules are rules, but it's ridiculous.
Can you imagine his thinking, I'm already on the yellow card? I mean, seriously, how on earth are you meant to think that you're in the last minute of extra time, the game is bonkers, and you're meant to think, I better not take my top off or whatever it is. It's like, oh God, how can you get another yellow card for that?
So keep your shirt on, Micah, please. Don't take it off. We'll give you a yellow card before we go. And we're going to go straight on to our question and answer episode right now. Let's start with one from Australia. Toby Van Extel. Question for everyone. What did you do to lock in right before games? Did you have a pre-game routine that you always followed? Love listening to the podcast from Australia. Thank you.
Good question. What was his name again?
Toby Van Extel.
Wow! Van Extel.
It's a good name, that.
Sounds fancy, that,
good name,
doesn't
good
it?
question. Do you want to start, Micah? Did you have a routine before games?
Routine, a bit weird. I must have had a really good game in a Manchester derby earlier on in my career. And
was that the only one?
You just beat me to it, guys. You just beat me to it.
I always used to put my left shin pad on before I put my right. Imbecile! I don't know why. If I put and I had to put my left boot on as well, and then put my right. I don't know why that was. I just had to do it. If I didn't do it, I didn't feel right.
I had a bonkers routine, all sorts of stuff. I was so superstitious. I think I've mentioned some of these before, but before the game, even driving, I would drive because in those days you just go in your car to home games, obviously not away games, but like take the same route. If I go a couple of games without a goal, I'd switch the route. I kind of got dressed in the same order, a little bit like yourself in some ways. On the pitch in the warm-up, I would never shoot at goal because I didn't want to use one up.
I get that. I was the same with that in the warm-ups.
Did you?
Yeah, in the there's like set up shooting sessions for a forwards in the game. I was always reluctant to do that because I was thinking, if I bag one in the top corner here from 25 yards, what's the chances of me doing it half an hour later in the game? Yeah. So I always used to be reluctant to do shooting sessions in the warm-ups before the game. So I get that, but fucking right shin pad on left, it's like, what the hell are you talking about, man? As if that's going to help you.
It is, mate. It is.
If it works for you, then it works for you, I suppose, mentally. I don't know. But...
Rio Ferdinand said in the tunnel he used to tip water all over his head. Before we go out. So I used to if I scored in the first half, I'd keep my shirt on for the second half. If I didn't score in the first half, I'd change shirts.
Really?
Not numbers, but a different shirt, yeah. All sorts of nonsense. Which leads on, actually, to a question from John Baker. A fantastic podcast by the three of you, and saves me from listening to terrible Brisbane radio whilst driving to customers. Apologies to Brisbane radio for that one. So another one from Australia, blimey. My question is, when Gary played for Spurs, I was a season ticket holder on the shelf and noticed Gary would always come out of the tunnel and kick the ball towards the goal. Was it a superstition of Gary's? Well, no, I didn't kick the ball towards the goal. I just said I did the opposite. I think I just came out and whacked the ball anywhere. And if so, was he bothered if it went in or not? I've just said that. Also, Gary would never take a shot in the warm-ups and concentrate on sprints again. What was his thinking? Well, the sprint side of it was just to get generally warmed up, because I took a bit of warming up. Felt a little bit stiff, so my warm-up was really quite hard.
Hold on, where are we going with this?
Well,
I generally took a little bit of warming up.
To get a bit stiff.
Otherwise, I'd get stiff. I mean, you might want to talk, say we're talking about football here, Gaz. I mean, it sounds a little bit...
Micah, that was in his 20s, not when he's in his 60s now. It takes more than getting fucking warmed up now, that's for sure.
They got
those
pills for
days are long
that.
gone. Those days are long gone. I could warm up for hours. It wouldn't make a blind bit of difference.
Even his face is that blue. He's taking that many pills.
And that's just to do a fucking podcast. Oh dear. As hard as it is, I think we should move on. Hey! Right, we definitely should. Jonathan Edwards.
The long jumper.
What do you think?
Long hop, skip and a jump.
It could be. It could be. Triple jump,
sorry, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about tactical injuries, conning referees, especially by goalkeepers who don't have to leave the field of play? This happened in the recent game between Derby and Reading, where play was halted for several minutes after a period of play where Reading were being overrun. All the Reading players went to the touchline to get fresh instructions from the manager, and the immediate danger was averted. Needless to say, their goalkeeper made a miraculous recovery.
Goes on. Every club does it.
Yeah.
They try and every club tries to, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Gain an advantage.
Gain some sort of advantage. Try to slow the team down. If you're under pressure, you'll see someone go down with an injury to try and waste a little bit more time. Everyone does it.
I saw actually recently that the MLS, the Major League Soccer in America, are trying to address that particular issue in the game by bringing in a law over there where if a player gets injured, then he has to go off the field, but he then has to stay off for a period of time, I can't remember whether it's a minute or 2 minutes, and they have to play with a man fewer at that particular point. I'm not sure about that, because most of the injuries that players get are genuine. Now, if you get a kick on the toe or a whack on the shin, or it's like if you stub your toe in your house, it bloody well hurts, and then it dissipates and goes away in a minute. And also you're perhaps encouraging people to give you a whack. And I think, does that actually reward the team who commits a foul?
Yeah, it's a disadvantage. I don't agree with that. Someone can't whack you and then you've got to go off for 2 minutes. Makes no sense. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to see him.
Yeah. They'll be bringing in sin bins next year. Oh, Paul Phillips. I love listening to the podcast. Keep up the good work, lads. Oh, very kind. My question is, if the three teams that got relegated from the Premier League last season get promoted, do you think that they'll perform as poorly as the teams who went up this season, or will they survive the dreaded drop? Cheers. Well, I don't think Luton have been poor. I think, let's say that for now.
They've given themselves a right good chance, haven't they?
Yeah, Sheffield United and Burnley have clearly struggled. Obviously, the three teams he's talking about would be Leeds, Southampton and Leicester, because they were the ones that got relegated last season. So if they came straight back up, I don't know. But Ipswich are going really well now as well. It's really tight at the top, and we don't know who's going to win the playoffs. I think it's getting increasingly more difficult. I think that the gulf is greater. do you think, between the two?
I think
leagues
it's
now?
always going to be difficult, particularly nowadays. I mean, we always said the hard part is actually staying up, not getting up, although it is difficult. But to stay up and then to stay up for a while is really difficult. I mean, the teams last year impressed. I mean, I know Luton did what they did, and it was a miracle how they got up. But when you look at Burnley, I mean, Burnley were really impressive, weren't they? I mean, some people thought they were going to do really well this season, didn't they, Micah?
Yeah, I did. I got it wrong. We all get it wrong, don't we?
Now and again.
Well, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. But just on that argument, say it was the three teams that come up. Say it was Leeds, Leicester, and Ipswich, for say. How on God's earth? And it goes back to financial fair play. They can't possibly compete with the big guns. It's impossible to do that. So they're always
that's not fair, is it? That
It's
financial
not fair, no.
play is like, you would think it's designed to stop anyone competing with the elite. It's not fair.
Do you think they'll
Yeah,
change
they have
it?
to
I
change
think
it.
there's rumblings.
They should
isn't there?
change it. It's just not fair because Man City wouldn't have done. I know Man City have got charges against them, but Man City wouldn't have done what they've done. Chelsea wouldn't have done what they've done with the current rules as they are now. It's just, I'm not just saying that because I'm a Newcastle fan now. It's just, it's not fit for purpose, if you ask me, the current rules.
Agreed.
Okay. Lisa Ball. If Liverpool and Bayer Leverkusen get through their quarters and semis of the Europa League, they will play each other in the final. Who do you think wins if that happens? And is it possible that it could be a higher quality final than the potential Champions League final? Well, there's a few ifs and buts in there, but I think there's every chance that Bayer Leverkusen could face Liverpool in the final, and I think it's a reasonable question because a lot of the teams in the Champions League, even in the last 8, are not particularly flying high in their respective leagues. What do you think?
I think there's every chance they could play each other. I think when everyone's looking at the draws and how it sort of worked out, then they're probably the outstanding teams, aren't they, those two?
Yeah, I don't think it'd be the same quality as the Champions League, but I think it might be more entertaining because of the way Leverkusen play on the front foot. They conceded a few goals, but they score a lot of goals. And we know Liverpool are all action team to watch, so it might be more entertaining. But quality-wise, say it was a Man City versus Atletico, I think it'd be a really tactical battle between two top coaches. So, yeah, more entertaining, but not, I wouldn't say, have more quality on show.
Tom Fairburn. Here's a great question. And this might be a little chance of my revenge of Micah.
Oh!
Question for Gaz and Alan. Start one, bench one, sell one. Kyle Walker, Gary Neville, Big Meeks.
Oh, that's not a tough question, is it? Bloody hell.
Oh, come on.
Hell, you're on the bench straight away.
He's lucky to get on the bench, Al.
You tried to sell him, you would get no money for him anyway. So and if you play him, you know you're getting done anyway. So there's only one place for you, Micah.
Yeah, you're not likely to be put on either. Yeah. So the question comes down, which I think is quite a good one: is Kyle Walker or Gary Neville? Who's been the better right back there?
Whoa, that's a tough question. That is. Yeah. I mean, they both played in great teams, haven't they?
They have. They both won everything. I think I'd just give it to Kyle Walker for that extra bit of pace defensively that he has. But there's not a lot in it. Two great right backs, two great players for England.
It's hard, isn't it? Because because Gary Neville's so self-deprecating now, the way he talks about himself, that he wasn't he was a great player. Yes, he wasn't a great team, but he still had to go up and down, and he was consistent, played a lot of games for England. In terms of one-on-one defending, I think Kyle Walker's better. In terms of positional sense, I would say Gary Neville was better. In terms of delivery in the final third, I'd probably say Gary Neville. But in terms of stopping a counter-attack, being able to adapt to a new system. I would say Kyle, they've both got strengths and weaknesses. It's too hard to really...
No, you work with Gary Neville, though, so you know you're going to say Gary Neville.
Should we just ask that question again then, Micah? Who would you rather have, Kyle or Gary? Stop sitting on the fence.
You know it's going to be Gary Neville because he works with him.
Did you see the way Gary Neville put it on a plate for me against Scotland? England-Scotland, Euro 96, when he whipped that ball in for the header.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Has to be Gary Neville.
So what are you going to go for?
Gary Neville all day. Micah, who are you? Come on.
Okay. You get the deciding vote, Micah, even though the question was for me and Alan. Are you putting yourself on the bench?
I'm picking myself. I'm playing.
Gary Neville or Kyle Walker? Come on. We're nearly into Friday's episode, Micah. Hurry up.
I think Gary Neville in Man United system, Kyle Walker in Man City system.
So who would you rather have, Micah?
Oh my God. Next question.
No, you're all right. You're very quick to bench me. No, come on.
It wasn't a question to me.
I know, but I've put it to you now.
All right, Gary Neville.
There you go. I told you. Right, Rick Overrinder or something like that. For Alan. Being young, living in the Netherlands, I always idolised Dennis Bergkamp, and in my opinion, he is one of the best players of a generation. How would you rank him in terms of the best players in the Premier League, and what was your experience playing against him?
Yeah, I totally understand the admiration for him. I'm exactly the same. He was just a brilliant player. I don't think you'd get many people arguing how brilliant Dennis Bergkamp was. Even as an opposing player against him, he was just he was ridiculously good. And I think we did this, didn't we, in terms of top 10 best foreign players in our in a podcast we do, Match of the Day top 10.
He was high.
Without doubt, he's probably, for me, best 5 we've ever seen in the Premier League, without a doubt.
Yeah, he was a wonderfully gifted football. Bit of an edge as well, didn't he?
Nasty edge, which you need, and I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way, but he had a tough side to him as well. Yeah, he was a brilliant player.
One of your many teams that you support, Micah, Arsenal, was he one of your favourites?
Yeah, my favourites were Anelka,
Thierry Henry.
Thierry Henry, Ian Wright, Tony Adams. Dennis Bergkamp was in there as well. I mean, talk about art. Everyone talks about Cantona. He was magnificent, wasn't he? But in terms of feel of the ball and remember his goal he scored against Newcastle against Shea Given? Oh, my.
We all remember
it's
that
the best goal, I think, in the Premier League I've ever seen. I'm going that far. Really? That far I'm going.
Sam, if you could have one ability of any current player to improve your game as a player, which ability
Gary, you can't do that again. You've said basically, what have you said? Warm up, stiff, and now bash on. I mean...
What's wrong with bash on?
Hey, when you get into your 70s, that's you'll take that, by the way.
I tell you, what goes through your mind, Micah? That's what I have to ask most of the time. Everything to you is a sexual innuendo.
You're saying it, not me.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to stick with bash on, though. If you could have one ability of any current player to improve your game, which ability would you have and from which player? Easy for me. Messi's dribbling.
Thierry's dribbling ability. Yeah, I would have Thierry, mate. Yeah, the way he ran with it.
Thierry too.
I'm going Kylian Mbappe. Dribbling. Oof.
Nick Dormand. Hi, guys. Question for Gary. When you were at Spurs with Gaza, did he really bring an ostrich to training?
It's got a bit of a neck asking that question.
Just stick your head in the sand. Not when I was there, but I heard that was probably the case. It wasn't during the time, but knowing Gaza as I know him, I would absolutely think it was probably true.
I heard that I heard him tell that. I think I heard him tell that story when he's doing a Q&A session. He went into, I think he went and hired an ostrich, didn't he? Seriously, he hired an ostrich and took it into training.
How do you hire an ostrich?
That's what I was going to ask.
Honestly, I don't know how he did it, but Gaza, if it could be done, Gaza could do it. And he went and hired an ostrich for the day. He didn't do any harm to the ostrich, he just hired an ostrich and took it into the training ground.
No ostrich was harmed in the filming of this training session. Sender Lenaula or Lenaola. Hello, guys from Nairobi. Cool, we're getting them from far afield today. My question is to all of you. Having played with players from different cultures and backgrounds, which players or players did you find yourself learning so much from? And what's one really interesting thing you learned from them? Oh, blimey.
Wow.
Culturally. Well, actually, in English football, back when I played, there weren't that many foreign players around. I mean, it's awash with them now, obviously. So I think you'd take a lot on board from that. But for me, it was probably the other way around, going to Barcelona and the culture of things and how they lived their life over there, different things. I quite enjoyed the daily routine of training for a couple of hours in the morning and then going to the beach, having a bit of lunch and a late siesta and then a late dinner. I thought that was quite cool.
Glass of red with the pre-match or not?
A little bit of Rioja and a nice paella.
Amazing.
Marvellous. Yeah. But yeah. And not chasing fullbacks was a really good thing when I went to Barcelona. The first 2 or 3 games, I was, like you do, Alan, when the ball goes out to the fullback in the days of 4-4-2, you were the one that had to bomb out and try and block the ball down the line. And I remember I got in at half time in one game and they're going, Gary, what are you doing? ¿Qué haces? What are you doing? Why are you chasing? I went, that's what we do, isn't it? No. You stay in the middle. We want you to score the goal. I went, I'll have a bit of that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. Micah, you?
Fucking culturally, I can't even fucking speak English, never mind fucking Italian.
I don't know.
No, I mean...
What about in Fiorentina?
Yeah, no, Fiorentina was good. But you don't learn anything in terms of... You learn a language a little bit, but everyone spoke English, or 6 or 7 players who I was passing the ball to spoke English, so it didn't really matter about... And I wasn't there. If I would have been there for 2 or 3 years...
And what did they say? That's another crap pack.
Why are you wearing those Adidas stand finders, Micah?
Get it right, they were Nike stand finders, actually. But no, I mean... I think way of life, like you said it, guys. I think drinking the wine before the game, the evening before, trading in the sun, and just, a beautiful lifestyle, I would say.
But you, Alan, how did the foreign players cope with that Geordie accent everyone has up there?
There were quite a few foreign players I played with who smoked. I mean, so that's something I never ever smoked in my life, but I found it amazing that they could smoke and then go out and play 90 minutes on the back of that. But I mean,
it's funny you should mention that, Alan. It's funny you should mention that because it leads me... The question I was just about to read was from Harvey. Hi, Gary. 2 English lads working in Christchurch, New Zealand. I'm a massive Liverpool fan and my mate is a big Spurs fan. We always have the pod on in the van at work as it helps us to keep going through the day. Well, that's great. My question is about players who smoke. What about that? Did any of you ever smoke during your career or play with any players or managers who smoked in the dressing room? Any insight would be interesting. Love the pod, lads. Keep up the good work. Well, I obviously played under Johan Cruyff, who smoked like a chimney and obviously probably cost him his life because he had lung cancer in the end. But yeah, there were quite a few players that used to smoke when I first started, and then it kind of gradually phased out. I think it's probably quite rare now, isn't it? I don't know.
I would guess it's rare now. I mean, I don't know, but you'd think the same in our day. I mean, David Ginola smoked when at Newcastle. So, but if that's what rocked his boat and that worked for someone, then you sort of let them get on with it, didn't you? Who were you to say you shouldn't be doing that?
Yeah. You just stick to the snooze?
Oh, yeah,
Micah.
I was a snooze, yeah. There's a couple players who used to smoke in Man City's dressing room, but I'll wait till they retire before I say that. I'll ask for their permission because I don't want to stitch them up. But I remember one time it was having that coming after the game was getting absolutely battered by someone, and as you do, you go in. I'm having a number 2 on the toilet.
With a snooze as well.
Snooze wasn't really a thing back then.
Oh, right.
But
If you snooze, you poos. Sorry.
But next minute, I just see some smoke coming over, and I was like, no way someone's smoking while I'm having a number 2.
It was a steamy turn. This episode is disgusting. We should put a warning on it before.
But yeah, I can't reveal the player until he retires.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for your questions. Some absolute belters this week. So thank you for that. This is me going into my Micah Richards impression of myself now. But that's it from Rest is Football for this question and answer episode. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.